Greetings to my 5 followers and welcome to my April reading wrap up. I know I've been in a really bad reading slump this month and I'm still not out of it. Yeah, but these are kind of in the wrong order. Now it's correct. I'm going to talk about each of these books a little bit more in depth, but without spoilers, obviously. So buckle in if you see something that interests you, and let's get started. This book is called Painted Scars by Neva Altaj. It's a dark mafia romance. He's part of the Russian mafia and it's marriage of convenience and forced proximity. But it's actually not that forced because she has trauma and he respects that. Like, he really fucking respects that. Definitely touch her and I kill you vibes, which I did really enjoy. He may or may not actually kill someone for her. Let me just read what's on the back. Nina. Charming, captivating and seductive, and a cold-blooded killer, but I married the Pakan. Of the Russian Bratva anyway. I had to, it was part of the deal. Now I'm faking marital bliss, as I tremble with fear, and I cannot wait to be out of the clutches of this ruthless man. Roman. It's Russian, I don't know how to pronounce it. I get anything I desire, and I want this perfectly imperfect little manipulator. The way she can deceive anyone into believing she's crazy in love with me just makes me want her even more. She doesn't know it yet, but I'm not letting her go. The deal is off. Yeah. I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it 3 stars, 3.5 stars. It wasn't that memorable, if I'm being honest, but I did enjoy it. So, what more do I want? I think you need to check the trigger warnings for this. What I think is cool that there's a translation of the most important words at the beginning of the book. There's no trigger warnings inside the book, but I still would definitely check the trigger warnings because there are some mature topics in here as it is a dark romance. But it's not like the darkest romance I've ever read by far, so you're gonna be fine. The second book I read this month is Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher, which is part of the Dreamland Billionaire trilogy. I didn't like the first book at all, but this one was really great. I gave it 3.5 stars. Let me read the back for you. The Dreamland Billionaires are back. Declan. I'm destined to become CEO of my family's media empire. The only problem? My grandfather's inheritance clause. Fulfilling his dying wish of getting married and having an heir seemed impossible until my assistant volunteered for the job. Our marriage was supposed to be the perfect solution to my biggest problem, but the more we act in love for the public, the more unsure I felt about our contract. Caring about Iris was never part of the deal, especially not when breaking her heart is inevitable. Iris. My plan to marry Declan was simple in theory. Move in together, throw a wedding, have a baby. We set rules to prevent any kind of issues. Ones that were never meant to be broken, no matter how much Declan tempts me. But what happens when a fake relationship leads into a real one? Falling in love was never an option, at least not for me. The whole storytelling is really similar to the first one. It wasn't at all like I didn't expect what was happening. If you read the first one and you know what this one is about and you read like the first 50 to 100 pages, you already know how the rest of the book's gonna go. Regardless, I enjoyed it. I don't necessarily hate predictability, so good book. For the Shadow and Bone trilogy, I threw a little 24-hour reading marathon. I finished the whole trilogy in I think 20 hours. And I slept 10 hours of that. So all I did was read. because I am obsessed. I literally am. I have watched the TV show several times. I've watched every interview that is out there, behind the scenes material, everything. I read this in the time frame I just told you. Because I liked the TV show so freaking much, I had really high hopes for this. And it did disappoint. There are great books. I gave the first and the second one 4 stars, but the last one I gave 1.5 stars. Not because it's a bad book, but because I absolutely fucking despise the ending with my whole being. I get why it is the way it is, but I fucking hate it. I like the ending of the TV show from the second season way more, and I pray to whatever is up there that they don't end the TV show the same way the books end, which is, I don't think going to happen, but there's still a slim possibility. So I just pray it doesn't end that way, because I hated it. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the Darkling, not because I think he's a good guy, he's not, but he's a very complex character and I do enjoy that. And my issues say I can save him, absolutely. But if she's not with the Darkling, at least get with Nikolai. At least get with fucking Nikolai. He's hot as well, like, and he's, you know, he's really charming and stuff, and good to you, and kind, and he's cool, and don't be with Mal. Mal is boring. I'm sorry, this is a Mal hate account. No, it's not a hate account, but I don't like Mal at all. He's so boring and so one-dimensional. He's really fucking one-dimensional, and I hate that in a character. The rest of the characters are so layered and deep, and especially the Darkling, but also Alina, also Nikolai, also the rest of the characters. But Mal is just so one-dimensional in my opinion. So yeah, I don't like that she continues to run to Mal. Maybe they end up together, maybe they don't. But what I really, really hated was that she always runs back to him. And I don't get why. I don't get the fucking hype. I don't get it. The last book I read, I actually finished just a few days ago, like 2 or 3 days ago. At the very end of April. Because after I read the Shadowborn trilogy, I had kind of a reading slump. I started 2 books, but I DNF'd both of them because I was just not enjoying it, despite them being good books. I can show them as well. Scarred. This is the second book in the Never After series, and I did really enjoy this one. I liked it more than Hooked, but I think I liked it less than Wretched, which is the third book. Yes, I've already read the third book. They're standalones, and this book wasn't available on Amazon, so I bought it in another store. But the first and the third book and the fourth book I own, they were available on Amazon, and I bought them there, and that's just why I ended up having 1, 3, and 4 first, and just bought this one last month, and I read it also last month, as I already said. So yeah, I gave this book 3.5 stars. It's a great book. It's also a dark romance with Toucher and I Kill You vibes, which he does. He does kill possibly one, possible several people for touching her. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that they end up together, because it is a romance that revolves around these two, so I don't think that's a spoiler. I'm going to read to you the back. She doesn't belong to him, she belongs to the crown. Prince Tristan Faza was never destined for the throne. That was always his brother, Michael, the same brother responsible for both Tristan's tormented childhood and the scar that mars his face. Mars? I think they mean Marks. When their father dies, Michael is set to assume the throne and Tristan is to steal it. The leader of the secret rebellion, Tristan will stop at nothing to end his brother's region. But when Michael's new betrothed, Lady Sarah Betroux, arrives, Tristan finds himself in the middle of a new kind of war. That kind that begs the question of what's more important, the crown or the woman about to wear it. Sarah has one plan: marry the king and eradicate the father line, even at the risk of her own peril. She never expects the scarred prince. He's dangerous, forbidden, and one of the men she's sent to kill. But the line between hatred and passion has never seemed so thin, and as secrets become to light, Sarah grows unsure of whom she can trust, torn between vengeance and the villain she was never supposed to love. If you haven't gathered it by now, it's a Lion King retelling, unofficially. Yeah. As I said, I DNF'd 2 books this month. Not because they are bad books, I will get back to them. Cleopatra Frankenstein is not what I was expecting it to be. So I picked it up when I was in the mood for a light romance, and that was not it. It's a really complex book, and that's why I DNF'd it, just to finish it when I'm in the mood for that kind of book. The other one I DNF'd, I already read like 250 pages of it, is A Court of Silver Flames, which is the 5th book in the ACOTAR series. Great book. I did enjoy it. I just was so hyper fixated on Shadow and Bone that I couldn't enjoy this whole universe, which I know I would normally, so I just DNF'd it, laid it to the side, and waited for my obsession to pass, which it kinda has, but I'm not too sure about it, so I'm just gonna let it sit in my bookshelf for another week or 2, and then I'm going to finish it. But yeah, as far as I can tell, it's a great book, and I honestly didn't like Nesta that much in the whole ACOTAR series, and this book is about her. I do enjoy the dynamic of Cassian. I have no fucking clue how to pronounce these names. But I don't like the characters on their own that much. I mean, they are layered, they are deep, I can understand them. You're kind of not supposed to like Nesta, but I don't think I would get along with either of them, even though I relate to Nesta. But sometimes things are just hit too close to home, and she embodies things I don't like about myself, so I don't really like her. Still going to finish this book because it's great, and Sarah J. Maas is a great author, and I like the whole universe. But yeah, that's on my TBR for next month, definitely. I don't want to put too many books on my TBR for next month, but I think those are the ones I really want to get to. I'm not pressuring myself. If I don't get to them, it's fine. Maybe I will read other books in place of them, but as of my current plan, these are the books I want to read. Not in that order particularly, I just grabbed them as they were on my shelves. First off is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is a classic. I think, well, it's well known, so you'll probably know it as well. The second one is Alice in Wonderland. I have an illustrated version, which is really fucking cool, and I'm looking forward to get to it. This will be the first classic I read this month, because I have a lot of them on my shelves. Well, a lot of them, I think I have like 8. But I haven't been able to get to any of those because I'm kind of scared of classics, because I know I understand it and I know I manage, but those are still things I have to concentrate for, and that I don't know if I can read for enjoyment rather than for education. But the only way to get better at it is to read them, and I definitely want to, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, this will be a good place to start, I believe. As I already said, A Court of Silver Flames is on my TBR for next month. I hope I'll finish it and be done with the whole Akotar series, because I read Akotar like, I believe in January, the whole series, and I was obsessed with it back then, but I didn't have the 5th book, so I didn't read it back then. I just bought it in February, and by then my obsession was kind of went away, so it just sat in my shelf, but I want to finish it. I want to finish the series, and it's a great book, and I will get back to it. On my TBR are also Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which I don't have the same editions, like by the same publisher, which is really sad because they're so different and they don't look good next to each other. I think I'm going to get Six of Crows also in this edition, because the Shadow and Bone trilogy is from the same publisher as this one. But yeah, it's really sad. And I didn't realize it until it was too late and the book has already arrived, and I don't like sending books back if nothing is wrong with them except for I didn't get the edition I wanted. I think this is the next book I'm going to read, and it's The Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert, who is one of my favorite authors at the moment, especially for, well, only for dark romances and stuff. I have read several books in the Dark Olympus series, and what did I read as well? A novella of hers. Really enjoyed everything I read of her by her so far, so looking forward to this. I'm going to read it back to you. 3 powerful, alluring vampire men and 1 queen to rule them all. All Mina ever wanted was to escape her father's control. Half human, half vampire, she lived eternally torn between 2 worlds, never fully experiencing the pleasures of either, until her father chose her as the pawn in his latest political move, gifting her to the darkly powerful and dangerous seductive Malaki Sion. By the way, Malaki is such a vampire name. I have another book where the vampire is named Malachi. Malachi is not a vampire to be trifled with. He rules with an iron fist and has a reputation for the darkest of sins. But the longer Mina is waiting with him, the more she realizes he's not the monster she first thought. And as fear bleeds into lust, then trust, then something more, Malachi opens Mina up to a world she never knew could be hers for the taking, including the love of Mikolai's 2 closest friends and companions. Now surrounded by all 3 men, the center of the shockingly seductive world, Mina may finally have the powers to face down her father and take back the life and crown that by all rights should be hers. Long live the Queen. I think it's self-explanatory why I want to read that. It's gonna be perfect. I know it already. It's gonna be perfect. On the front it says addicting and delicious, which is the best kind of love story. So yeah, those are the books I want to get to, and the books that I have read in April. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you even watched it until here. Leave a comment if you watched to the end. I really think that would be interesting, because I don't think anyone has watched until now. But hey, I really enjoy making these videos, so why not make them? Maybe even if even one person watches this and likes it, it's fine. Yeah. Take care, have a great day, and I will see you when I read some more books.